soup would really hit the spot. So let's go buy all the ingredients for a good chicken soup, and then we'll go home and make it. So why don't you follow me, and I'll show you what we need. They clean out their refrigerator, they see some old vegetables, and they decide to make a soup. These are wonderful things for soup. Well, if you make a soup out of those, they're going to taste like old vegetables. So buy the freshest ingredients you can, the nicest looking ingredient. We took some dill, we took some parsley root, we took a leek. This is not going to be a very traditional chicken soup, but it's going to be amazing. We took some scallions, but we still need onions, we need carrots, we need celery, so we should go on and find where they have that.
Okay.
Finish our soup. Got the peel. It's going to give our soup a beautiful golden color, and it's a nice hard onion, and this is going to be perfect for our soup. Let's get a nice garlic and put some of these in the soup, and it'll be delicious. This looks so beautiful. We're going to put the potato in the soup. So let's get this potato. This is, people either absolutely love this or hate it. In America it's called coriander or cilantro. It has the most delicious aroma. I love it. I could eat this plain. We can use some of this, but make sure your guests like it, because it has a very strong taste. We could use some of this in the chicken soup. It'll be totally non-traditional. I can guarantee you it's not the chicken soup that your grandmother made, but it will be delicious. And at the end of the year, when it was time to go back to America, I was really upset because I thought we didn't have that in America. And I thought, how am I going to go back to America and not have coriander? I just lived on it. And by the time I came back to America, they were selling it in all the supermarkets. So now you can get it everywhere. Well, now we're home and we're going to make the chicken soup. It was, as you saw at the market, it was really cold and it was raining and windy. And on that kind of day, there's nothing better than chicken soup. So let me just show you. We're going to start out with chicken bones. These are all things that many people throw away. The chicken neck, we've got the chicken wings, and I'm going to put in the chicken bones. As I said before, this is full of gelatin. It's going to give the soup body and added flavor. And, we're not eating it. This is just, when we're all done, we're going to strain the soup. So your guests are not going to see these feet. It's just to give it body. And in addition, we will put in a whole chicken. But the whole chicken, we want to cook all the nourishment, all the flavor, all the good things out of these bones. We don't want to cook all the flavor out of this chicken because we want to be able to eat it. I know when I was a kid, my grandmother always gave us the soup, the chicken from the soup, and I really didn't like it because she cooked the life out of it. So I don't want to do that. Here's our chicken, a whole chicken that's going to go in once that water is boiled. But I want to prepare it in the meantime. Now, sometimes if you buy your chicken in the supermarket, you don't see this. They take it off already. But this is the fat that we all cut off our chicken. And I'm going to tie up the chicken. It's not that I'm into any kind of sadomasochism or anything like that. I just want to keep the chicken, it's going to look nicer rather than have these legs just flopping all around. And it'll be easier to remove in case the chicken does fall apart. And if we wanted to stuff this, it would keep the stuffing in, but we're not going to do that. I don't have string, but I do have Tomer's shoelaces. So we're going to use that instead. And this will actually be, I'll be able to, I'm going to tie it to the side and I'll be able to pull the chicken right out. Okay. So, I'm going to and it's a good idea to look over a recipe before you actually make it, because, you know, this doesn't matter. We were able to improvise, but sometimes you are missing a key ingredient, and it would be a shame to start cooking and then have to stop right in the middle. As I said, I'm not going to put in pepper, but I am going, salt rather, but I am going to put peppercorns. Now, I'm putting in whole peppercorns. There's no need to grind it. We'll get the flavor from it. Because we're going to be straining the soup before we serve it. So I'm going to put in peppercorns. We have some thyme. Now it's not, this is okay. I mean, it's a little bit dry, but this will be fine. This, you can still smell it. And it's not brown, it's still green. You can, you know, maybe one more day. But I'm going to make this chicken soup. I'm going to do something your grandmothers may not have done. I'm going to make my chicken soup with wine. It's just that I'm not putting the wine in the pot. I'm going to drink it. So at least it'll make it more fun to make the chicken soup. Ooh, that's delicious. I'm going to tell you a little story about matzo balls, since they go so well with soup. And for the next film, we'll do matzo balls. People are always calling the deli, asking how we get our matzo balls so fluffy. And I'll tell you a secret. It's our secret, but I'm telling you, so it's no longer a secret. We use baking powder, and it makes it fluffy. In fact, if you wanted to have hard matzo balls, you couldn't do it with our recipe. But people are always calling us, asking us how we do it. And one of the things my father taught me was never, ever, ever tell your company that you're sorry something didn't come out right. Because if you tell them that it's not supposed to taste like this, they're going to find something wrong with it, even if it's good. So if your matzo balls come out like, you know, hard, like tennis balls, we could salvage it. You fry it up with some onions and some garlic and some salt and some pepper, and you serve it as a side dish with your brisket, and it's absolutely delicious. And you tell your company that this is what your family likes as a side dish, and I promise you, they'll love it. And they'll never realize that you meant for these to be light and fluffy in your soup. So that's something that I learned from my father. All right, now I've got an onion here, a yellow onion. And if you remember at the market, I looked for an onion that had the peel completely on it, because a lot of them, the peel was coming off. And the reason is that I'm going to put this in the soup as is. I already washed it, so it's perfectly clean, and that's going to help our chicken soup be light. It'll add flavor, and it'll also make it yellow. I'm going to use carrots twice. I'm going to put the carrots in now because it's going to give the soup a nice sweet flavor. But the carrots are going to get kind of mushy. That's not the carrot you want in your soup. You want a fresh carrot in your soup. So later on, when we eat the soup, I'll just throw it, as the soup is reheating, I'll throw in another carrot, so that carrot will be fresh and delicious, and that'll go in the soup. So I'm putting in 2 carrots. Remember, at the shuk, we were looking for celery. What I didn't realize is that we actually had celery. This is a celery root. And, you know, in America, things are so beautiful and so fresh. Here in Israel, I've never seen it with the actual celery coming out of this. So this is really wonderful. It has such an intense celery flavor. It's really a good thing to use. So I'm going to cut this, but I'm not going to throw this away. I'm going to wash this really well, because you see it's really dirty. And maybe I'll stir fry it. This is going to be delicious. It's going to be it doesn't belong in the soup, or maybe I'll, you know what? I'm going to put some of the leaves in the soup. Never mind. This is delicious. You know, there's no reason to use this part, which you could use for a salad or something else. We may as well use this part that you might be throwing away, and it has that intense celery flavor, so we can use that for the soup. So I'm just going to wash that. Yeah, and this has a beautiful celery. I really wish you could. This is one of those scratch and sniff things where you could smell it, because it's this smells much more intense than the celery I'm used to. This would be, normally I might use a potato peeler, but that's going to be too difficult for this. This I absolutely love. So I'm just going to wash this off. But I love leeks. Now, one of the things I was looking for in the market, I wanted to get whole leeks so I could show you how to clean them, because leeks are really dirty, and I'm going to show you what they look like. But they didn't have that. These are delicious braised. You don't have to just use them in soup. They are, next to some kind of meat. They're delicious braised. But these are pretty clean. But very often they are filthy. So you would slice it in half and then wash it. I'm just going to cut off the end. Garlic. My grandmother never put garlic in her soup. But I love garlic. And when you boil it, when you cook it, it actually becomes very sweet. So you can, if you put a whole clove in your mouth, it's really fine. It doesn't have a very strong taste. And you could use the peel and everything. So I've already washed this. I'm going to take a couple of heads, as is, and just throw them in. As I said, the peel will probably slide right off while it's cooking. If not, we can slide the garlic out of the peel when it's fully cooked. And we're going to get some more flavor from that. Now you notice that I peeled them and I placed them in cold water. The reason I did that was because it would oxidize otherwise. These would turn brown. It's not going to affect the flavor, but it doesn't look as nice. So I kept them in water and they're beautifully white. We'll stick that in. Boy, this pot has everything but the chicken soup in it. Really important to not, you bring the soup to a boil and then you simmer it. The way I look at it, when something is boiling, it's like hysterical laughter. We don't really want hysterical laughter. We want little smiles. That's simmering. If you boil it, all that stuff that comes to the top of the soup is just going to be churned and churned and turned around inside the soup, and we're going to get a very cloudy soup. We want a beautiful, clear soup. So the way to do that is not let it boil. Once it comes to a boil, we lower the flame and we simmer it. We should just see those little smiles on the top of the soup. And that's the way it should be the whole time. We'll check it from time to time. Sometimes we might need to add a little more water because, fluid's going to evaporate. Other times we may need to lower the flame. We may need to raise the flame. We'll be here, we'll check it. But don't boil it. I covered the soup just so that it would boil faster. Now it's boiling, but we don't want to keep this at a boil. We want to just let the soup simmer so that we'll have a perfectly clear soup. And now I'm going to put this chicken in, and it would have displaced all that water, and we would have had a major disaster. So we're going to, from time to time, we're going to have to add water as water evaporates. So I've got some boiled water here. While we're letting the soup, not the water, come to a boil again, I want to show you our book, the Second Avenue Deli Cookbook, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. This is a wonderful book. It has the recipe for this chicken soup, as well as some other wonderful chicken soups. And it also has the story of my father's life. My father was murdered 9 years ago, and he was absolutely my hero. And it was really important to me that people know what kind of person he was. I wanted, even in death, I wanted him to be able to influence other people. He was known as the mayor of Second Avenue. He had a heart of gold.
He never said no to anyone who needed help. And everyone in the community knew him. From the homeless people knew him and respected him, to the wealthiest, most intelligent person. And he could talk to anyone. And they all knew that as long as they weren't drinking or drugging, my father was there for them, with his words, with his food, with his kindness. And so it was very important for me to tell his story in this book, and that's what we did. There was a writer for the New York Times, his name was Israel Shanker, and he moved to Scotland. And when my father heard that, he was absolutely horrified. He could not imagine how a Jew could live in Scotland where there was no Jewish food. He said, how are you going to get your gefilte fish, and your matzah balls, and your chopped liver, and your kasha varnishkes, and your egg barley? So every time he would hear that a customer was going there on vacation, he would send them with a little goodie bag for Israel Shanker. Well, now you can leave the country, you can leave New York, you can go anywhere in the world, because we have the Second Avenue Deli Cookbook, which has all our recipes, and you can make it at home. All right. And this is the way the soup is going to simmer for, I would say, the next hour. As soon as this is ready, we're going to lift it, this chicken, we're going to lift it out. We will continue to cook the soup with the bones, with all these vegetables. And then we can cut this up, and either we can shred the meat and put it back in the soup when it's served. We don't want to cook it anymore, but we can certainly serve that in the soup. I don't like clear broth. I love things in my soup. I love vegetables. I love chicken. I love the matzah ball, noodles, all sorts of things. In addition to that, you can stick it under the broiler and make it a little crispy, because a lot of people don't like, boiled soup chicken. But if you make it crispy under the broiler for a few minutes, it's absolutely delicious. So that's another thing. Or you can make chicken salad. What's better than that? Now let me just tell you a little bit. Here's the dill. This is really beautiful, but this has to be washed well because, this is kind of dirty. We're going to put this in at the very end, the last couple of minutes of cooking. Most people don't put coriander in. I love the taste of coriander, so I'm going to put that in the soup. And while I was waiting for the soup to come to a boil so I could put the chicken in, I opened up the refrigerator to see what other vegetables we had. So I found a zucchini. One zucchini. I didn't know what to do with the zucchini. Figure, why not put that in the soup? So I'll put that in. Also, when I reheat the soup, I'll throw in another carrot, I'll throw in the zucchini, and these are all things that could go in the soup when I serve it. And they'll be absolutely delicious. All right. The chicken was ready. I took it out. I put it on the side. When it cools a little bit, I'll cut it up. I'll shred some to use for the soup. I'll cut up some to use for delicious chicken salad. And I'll stick some under the broiler. So no matter how you like your soup, so everybody will be happy how you like your soup chicken. I then took the soup and I strained it. I got rid of all those bones, the vegetables that were overcooked that we just took all the flavor from. And now all I have is broth. I'm going to take this, you can tie it up so that little pieces won't come off. But I'm just going to put this in the soup for the last 5-10 minutes of cooking, and it's going to give it a wonderful flavor. When this cools, I'm going to put the soup in the refrigerator. The fat will come to the top. I'll be able to very easily skim it off. It's much easier when it's cold to skim it than when it's hot. And tomorrow, if it's raining like today, we will be warm and toasty. We'll have chicken soup with matzo balls. There'll be chicken in the soup. We'll make some fresh carrots, and I'm going to use that zucchini. Maybe I'll put in some more celery. We'll make noodles, and we will be so happy. So I hope you make this at home and enjoy your soup. So thanks for coming. Bye-bye. And next time we'll make something else. Maybe we'll do the matzo balls. Have a great night. Bye.